The Overlambulance.
Yeah, buddy.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Thanks for coming to Happy's Trails. Today I want to talk to you about something that I have right here in this compartment. And that is heaters. Which ones to use, which ones are different, how much they cost, and most of all, why I went with the one I went with. So let's go do this. Okay, all the heaters that I'm going to talk to you about, I've got personal experience with. And the first one is the Mr. Buddy Buddy heater. It's a 1 gallon propane fueled heater, and it has a little ceramic plate that heats up and it puts off heat. There's a lot of debate whether or not they're safe, but I haven't seen any issues or any videos that state different. As long as you have adequate ventilation and don't put anything right in front of it that could catch on fire, these are pretty safe. They do cause a lot of moisture. So the next one is another propane one, and this one is called the Wave. The Wave has multiple different sizes that you can get, and these are pretty much run the same way, except they have like a cloth pad on there. As you'll see right here in a second, there's multi-layers. And I've noticed that with a Buddy heater, it gets up to temperature and then you have to turn it off. There's no thermostat, there's no in between. But this one you can turn on and it'll take a little bit longer to warm up, but it stays pretty even throughout the night. You don't get over hot, and you can pretty much run it all night and it stays consistently warm. And like I said, with the Buddy heater, you tend to kind of get like, wow, it's really hot, I got to turn this off. So there's no really in between. I think it only has a low and high setting as well. So out of the two, this is probably my favorite. I've been using it more recently, and I highly recommend it. All these heaters, I am going to put a link in the description for you guys as well. Okay, now this heater is an electric heater, so you kind of need to have a large solar bank or be running off of shore power. And this one I really like because it does have a blower on it, a fan I should say, and it pushes the air around and spreads it throughout the room. One of the other things that I do like about this one, other than it having a fan and circulates more, is that it actually has a thermostat on it. So you can set it all the way down to like 60 degrees and all the way up to like 80 something, 90. It's a really good little fan, and it just is really nice. The next heater I want to talk to you about is called the Chinese heater. This one is a diesel heater. This is a 5 kilowatt. They have 2, 8, and many other sizes, I believe. But they've been really, really impressive, and I've known a lot of people who have them and love them and use them, and they have no problems. I also know people who order them and they come missing parts. But they're very easy to get parts for, and Facebook has an amazing support group for them. So if you want a good heater for a low price, this is it. So a similar heater to the Chinese heater is the Webasto. That one comes in regular gasoline and diesel, and it primarily works the same way. It's just a little more expensive, and the quality is a little better from what I understand. And from the people that have them, they absolutely love them, have never had any issues with them. And as you can see from the pictures, they both come with a variety of accessories you can get for them. And you can also basically install them yourself if you have a little bit of knowledge. They have an inlet and an outlet which just passes air through where it combusts in there, and that's what heats the air as it passes through. And then there's an inlet and exhaust on the bottom as well, and that's just for the air coming in and the exhaust of the combustion chamber. Alright guys, so now I've given you a handful of different heaters and stuff we've talked about. We've talked about the Buddy heater. We talked about, what else? The Wave. We talked about the Chinese heater. We talked about the Webasto. S-Bar makes one similar to those. The one I had in the Winnebago Revel was an S-Bar D5 hydronic system, but that also had a water heater as well, a tankless water heater, and it was done by what is that called, like a glycol system or something like that. And that was a pretty intense system. Most of those have to be hooked up to your vehicle's like coolant system and stuff like that. And I know people also who have like the S-Bar D4, and it's just the heater, and they all have great luck with them and stuff. Mine on the Revel, it was like 70-30 whether or not it was going to work, and I didn't really care for those odds myself. And there's other like propane water heaters, tankless water heaters that you can get. Some of those are only like $100. So if you went, like, say for instance, you went with like a buddy heater or one of the Waves, a propane one, and then got the propane tankless water heater, I mean, you'd be out like a couple $100, you know what I mean? You could do like the Chinese heater and a propane tankless heater and still only be out a couple $100. If you were to do something like the Espar D5, full hydronic with the water heater and everything, you're gonna set yourself back a couple thousand. So the one I ended up going with is the Truma Combi, which is this one right here. I know I've shown it to you guys before. It's a combination unit. It's a furnace and it is still a hot water heater as well. And you can see that I got my shower set up here and quick connect. It seems to be really good. I haven't got it completely hooked up, and it is run off of propane. So I have the propane hose coming through the side there, and it comes into this compartment there, and there's my propane tank. So the issues that I'm having with the Truma Combi right now is that it's about $1,600, which isn't terrible. I mean, that's still higher than those other ones, but it doesn't come with any of the fittings, and I just didn't understand that. So it's incomplete, so I have to buy those separately. You have to have a fairly large compartment to put it. I mean, if I could have maybe mounted it sideways, it would have worked better for me, because as you can see, the way the exhaust and intake works is it's in one thing. So you have an inner hose and an outer hose, and one is the intake and one's the exhaust. Now this hose is super thick and not real flexible, so if it could go somewhere and come straight out of the wall, that'd be wonderful. But in this compartment, it can't do that because these doors have to be able to open. So I have to be able to put an S curve in it, and I'm going to put it to come out the side of the wall here. Problem with that is, guess what? They only send you like 2 feet of hose. I need like 3 or 4 to get the right proper bend and not have it kinked up. So that's kind of the issues that I'm running into this. I'm hoping it's going to be great. One of the reasons I went with it is because my buddy had it sitting at his house or at his shop, and he was like, hey, you want to take this one and order me another one when I'm ready to install it? So it was having it access to it right away. It was one of the huge reasons I did that. And I have replaced his already since then, and he still hasn't hooked his up. But with all that being said, and what I know now, what would I do? I think I'd probably go diesel heater or Webasto, and then just do a propane tankless water heater. I mean, you know, yeah, it's the cheaper way, but everybody that I know who has them loves them, and they haven't had any real problems. So I hope that video was helpful for you guys. If you can, like, subscribe, and share it. I'm doing really good. Watch them ads. It's helping me out. I do have a Patreon account if you want to help me get this Bad Rider finished faster, but slowly but surely, right? So thank you guys for following. Appreciate you. Yeah.